Welcome to GLG's World PR Day Fireside Chat, featuring leading voices from across the globe.
Thank you very much for having me. It's much appreciated. I'm really excited to be part of this whole process and to dive into some of the big conversations that we're going to have right now. These sessions are really about looking at the future of PR. And so in this discussion, we're going to talk to some of the industry leaders and look at things like how AI is affecting business, and the need to quickly pivot from it being just a kind of threatening tool to actually being an implementation on how we apply AI to the business that we do. And then really we want to double down on that and look at how we can tackle some of the big questions around key trends and trust and the PR as an ecosystem and so on. So without further ado, let me introduce our guests. So our guests today are Stacey Ross Cohen. Stacey is an award-winning brand expert with experience in personal branding. She is the founder of Co-Communications, a full-service PR and marketing agency. And she's been featured in Entrepreneur, Forbes, Cranes, and many other media outlets. So we are in very, very well-esteemed company. Next up is our guest, Dr. Sarah Glova. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Is it Glova? Good, perfect. Sarah is a globally recognized speaker, a successful entrepreneur and business consultant. She's the founder and CEO of the award-winning digital media firm, Reify Media, and she launched that in 2012. All self-funded, fully self-funded company, and she supports major universities, corporates, non-profits through website creation, e-learning, compliance training, video, and cutting-edge digital resources. So she's really got the full gamut of the digital spectrum. And as a self-funded business ourselves at Brand Advance, I totally understand how that goes. So well done to you. Also on our esteemed panel, we have Maxim Behar. So Maxim is a globally renowned PR expert. He's an entrepreneur, he's a journalist and a diplomat. And he's the founder and CEO of M3 Communications Incorporated. He's a leading PR, which is basically a leading PR company in Bulgaria. So we're happy to have you all the way from Bulgaria. Maxim has held prestigious positions, including former ICCO president and the current ICCO International Growth Chair, and has received numerous awards, including Best PR Professional in Europe, Global CEO of the Year. He's the author of the Global PR Revolution and ranked among the top PR books of all time. He's like, stop, I'm blushing, keep going, stop, keep going. So welcome, Maxim, welcome.
I'm just one of your colleagues, that's it.
So I'm going to have a general question for everybody. I just would love everybody to answer this in turn. And the first question is around technologies and the tools that we use in public relations as practitioners. And they're tools that we really can't do without. But obviously now that AI is on the scene, we're really looking at what is the evolution of public relations when we think about AI and digital technologies. So how should we be pursuing the next few years around AI and digital technologies? And Sarah, if you don't mind, I'm going to start with you first.
For me, something that I'm noticing from the PR space as a reporter is I feel like my nose for ChatGPT written content is getting better and better. I feel like I'm quicker and quicker at spotting it. And here's the thing. It's fine. I genuinely don't mind if you use tools to write. For me, I'm actually addicted to a digital thesaurus. I have been for a long time. I don't know how I would write if I didn't have my digital thesaurus. So I do not mind when people use tools to write. But here's the challenge that I have. I think that more and more I'm seeing press releases or news briefs or even emails being written by tools like ChatGPT, where I don't feel like the author is taking their audience into account. So I'll get a news brief or a press release that summarizes updates from a company, some exciting announcement. And they'll say, you know, we've built our new feature, and the new feature is here, and the feature does this, and the feature does this, and the feature is so exciting because it's the first time we've and there is no reason for my readers to care. And I like to use the metaphor of, is it something that would impress your mother-in-law, or is it something that would impress the news? Because I think more and more the press releases, because it's so easy for us to go into ChatGPT and say, my tool has this new feature, my company has this new service, write a press release about it. And it does, but it doesn't connect us to why it matters. So if your press release is just going on and kind of bragging about you in the way that you might tell your mother-in-law, like, here's the exciting things going on in my company, here's why things are going great, that's just not enough for me and for my readers. If you want me as a reporter to write a story about you, then help me understand why it matters. Don't talk about the new feature and what it is. Tell me who the feature is going to help. What problems will it solve? The 2 R's, make it relate to me and make it relevant. Does it have anything to do with climate change or gender disparity or pay gaps? Or is there any big problem it connects to? Or what solution is it providing? So when we talk about these tools, Deborah, I just think because it makes it easier for us to write, sometimes we skip the step of making sure it's relevant and making sure that it relates to our audience. And so I just want to pull us back from that and remind us to focus on our audience, and then use the tool however heck much you want, as we say here in the Southern United States. Use the heck out of it. That's fine. It's not the tool's fault. Just make sure that you as the author aren't missing that opportunity to make us care.
You know, the words relate and relevant mean a lot to me, because that's one of the things that we look at massively when we're looking at speaking to audiences is it representative? Does it resonate? Is it relevant? And I think those things make all the difference. And you're quite right. When it's written by ChatGPT, it feels a little bit like, well, it was written by ChatGPT, you know. So anyway, it's not about what I think. Maxim, what's your perspective on this?
I can emphasize, of course, on the new technologies, which are very important and they're crucial for providing our business. Because if we go back about 10 to 15 years ago, we will see that it was not like today. And today, 2023, I have a feeling, and I'm about 30 years in business, that I work in a completely different business. It has nothing to do with the public relations, which we did 10 to 15 years ago. And there are a couple of very, very, very important changes which we must have in mind using even the modern technologies. The first big change is that we are not anymore advisors. We are decision makers. Because in the past, we were a bridge, just a bridge between our clients and the media. And the clients were coming to our offices, they were knocking on the door or calling on the mobile phones or whatever, and saying, Mr. PR expert or Max or whatever, could you please help us to get to the media, local, national, international, because we have an excellent product. We produced an excellent product. We produced brilliant earphones, and we would like to sell them to the market. So we would like to attract the attention of the media. Today, it's not like that because all we have media in our hands. There are 4 billion publishers on the planet Earth, 4 billion people who own media and can be opinion makers, influencers, public relations experts, journalists, or whatever, name it. But this is a huge difference. This is a real revolution. That's why I called one of my books published in the US 2-3 years ago by Simon & Schuster, The Global PR Revolution, because it's a real revolution. First of all, this media is interactive. You know, this is technology, of course, because technology stays behind the media. But first time in the history, we have interactive media because someone posts an article, take, for example, TripAdvisor, or all of those websites which are looking for feedbacks of the customers, how they change the industries, they change the history, they change the markets. is not only public relations. It's not like an instrument that you go to the website and you post your positive or negative opinion, whatever. The market is turned upside down because now all of us, we are opinion makers. So the first very strong item is that the media are interactive. But the second one, which is, I would say, on the first time ever in the history, media is measurable. Never ever before people could know how many people, how many readers has this newspaper, local, national, international, federal, or whatever. How many people indeed watch this TV show, this advertising, this message generated by the public relations experts or by the clients or together. But there was no way to understand how many people reached the message. Today, you not only count the number of people, but you know where from they come. Yeah. You know their gender, their sex. You know sometimes even their origin and their age, everything. So this changed our business a lot. It's a completely different business. And number 3 item, which makes a difference, is that in the past couple of years, we observe a very dynamic merge of the 3 main points of the public communications. This is the advertising, the public relations, and digital. So those 3 businesses are merging quite fast. And especially after pandemic, they started being already one business. What will be the name of this business? Who knows? It will not be public relations for sure. It could be social relations. It could be real-time relations, because real-time now is the fact which assures the proper messages in the targets. But this is completely new business. And now there is a big discussion among all the experts globally. Which of those 3 businesses will be the leader of the future merged business or future big business? The advertising guys, they say, of course, advertising, because we own the media, we have the graphic designers, we have the media shops, we give money to the media, so we will be the leaders. The digitals, with all my respect to the 3 groups, the digitals, they say, of course, us, because we create applications, we create tabs, we know how to penetrate the social media, how to manage them, whatever. But I think it will be public relations. And now I'm coming back to the beginning of our discussion. And the reason is very simple and very clear. Our business, my dear friends, is creation of content. You can have the best advertising space. You can have the amazing application or website or a brand new social media without content. It doesn't cost, a penny. It's nothing. And in the public relations business, we are the masters of content. So that's why I think that, content is, of course, number 1. Content is the most important thing. And also the time of reaction. Sorry to say this, but our business these days is 24/7. You can take a rest, you can go somewhere to the beach, you can have a nice chat with your boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, whatever, company, but you must be 24/7 in order to be a good public relations expert, because the time of reaction is crucial. If you stay, I'll give you I'll come, Deborah, last sentence. If you stay, if you are late 20 minutes, 50 minutes, you might be dead. Your client might be dead. So we should have, from the point of view of technology, and I hope Sarah will support me, we should have enough good system to bring all possible devices with us, all alerts, in a way that if we have issue with the client, with the political environment, with the business news or whatever, we must know this. And this is our business today July 2023. Thank you.
Maxim, honestly, you made some amazing points. And I think a lot of those points are going to lead into the question I have next, which is actually for Stacey. And I think speaking particularly around things like public relations becoming real-time relations, and thinking about everyone being a content creator and 4 billion people on the planet who are able to create content. That is huge. And it has a significant implication when it comes to the overall industry itself. So Stacey, the question for you is with your experience in the industry, what do you see as the most significant challenges and the opportunities that we're facing today? And how can practitioners navigate all of these challenges and turn them into opportunities, essentially?
First of all, both Maxim and Sarah, very hard acts to follow. I love what you both said, and thank you for the great question, Deborah. So, okay, here's the thing. I have been in public relations, and my roots go back to CBS, and I have to say, I agree with what Maxim said. Like, this isn't an evolution. This is a revolution. And I'm sorry, by the way, I cannot get my video to work, but
the picture is working fine. You look great.
Okay, great. As long as you can hear my voice. Here's the thing: we have got to invest in tech skills and data literacy. We need to be in the know of the latest advances in AI, analytic tools, social media platforms, digital communication channels. We've got to be proactive learners. We have to embrace it. This is here to stay. It is not going anywhere. And so we are all our own news channels, if you think about it. And we are living at unprecedented time. There is so much media fragmentation. So PR practitioners need to adapt strategies to be able to engage audiences on digital platforms, understand new media dynamics, and also build relationships with online influencers. And it requires, it's like my mantra, and this is just my mantra in life, like the new competitive advantage is about innovation and change. And we all know this saying, if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same result. But really, the new competitive advantage is about change and innovation. Because if you keep doing the same thing, you are going to be stuck in reverse. So as practitioners, we have to adopt an agile approach. We have to be flexible. We have to break down silos, and we have to collaborate across different departments within an organization. And it could be marketing, customer services, HR, because we need to ensure consistent messaging. And Gary Vee, who many of us I know, and he said this years ago, and this goes to the real time, we've gotta market in the moment. There are no two ways about it. There are so many things that we don't know. And again, I think one of the opportunities, however, because I spoke about some of the challenges, but I think we can combat that challenge by, again, being in the know, being constant learners. An opportunity, I believe, is that we are going to be able to make more informed decisions. We're going to be able to leverage all of this amazing data to understand our target audiences, measure effectiveness of a campaign, and also like customize in real time our messaging for maximum impact. And so again, I think that is so powerful to be able to make these informed decisions. And there's a lot of, I believe, efficiencies that we're going to see, and also predictive analytics that will allow us to customize a story. I believe that we're going to be able to predict the probability that a journalist will cover a story. And now, we kind of have to, like through Cision, or we actually use critical mention. We have all of these great tools that do have some AI, but the AI is going to get more and more sophisticated. So everybody put their seatbelts on and enjoy the ride. And thank you for allowing me to share.
Thank you, Stacey. Thank you. Listen, I think critical mention is a big one, especially if we think about the recent pandemic and all of the news and the content. And as you mentioned, everybody becoming their own news channel of their own. And that obviously has created lots of mistrust, as well as news that's maybe not quite as accurate, and then PR stories that have had to combat that. So the question I have, and thank you for sharing that, Stacey, because it's leading me to the next question I have for Sarah, which is, if we think about that pandemic moment and all of the unprecedented challenges that it brought for many people, whether you're an individual, whether you're a business or a huge organization, there was a critical role for PR to play in that space. And actually, it's still got a big role now when we think about how to rebuild the trust, how to build effective communications. What's your take on that? How are we recovering?
When I think back to that time, the shutdown, I think in a lot of ways, the PR professionals who are on this call and around the world were responsible for creating my window to the world. I was at home, like so many of us. I wasn't leaving. I was actually pregnant at the time, and so I really wasn't leaving. I was very afraid to be out and about. So my window to the world was very informed by the media that I saw in front of me. And I think the experts who are here today and around the world celebrating Global PR Day, they helped to shape what I saw in that window. And I think that is a responsibility that we shouldn't take for granted. And it's something that I bring up a lot when I talk to folks in marketing, communications, public relations, because I think, and it's going to tie together what Stacey and what Maxim so beautifully shared. I think that we're in this incredibly fast-paced time of change. And so if you think about our responsibility of shaping people's windows into the world, things are changing so quickly. A lot of the news is very negative. I think many of us know people who say things now like, oh, I don't watch the news. I turn it off. And so as we think about our responsibility in helping to shape these windows into the world that people have through their media, I think that we have a responsibility to stay curious, because we have the opportunity to help point people in the right direction and say, look at this new thing over here, or look at what's going on over here, or let me tell you about this exciting innovation over here. We're helping people to learn about those things. And so we have to stay curious if we're going to help other people to learn about those new things. And that's not easy. If you are burnt out, if you're tired, if you don't have energy, curiosity is a hard thing to muster. I love stories. And I think the easiest story that many of us can relate to is if you're dealing with a small child, a toddler, and they're kind of asking, well, why? Well, why? You know that feeling? And you start to be like, I don't know, the sky, it's just blue. If we're doing that, if we're getting frustrated and we're not asking that why, then we're not staying curious. And so I think in celebration of World PR Day, we can both recognize the beautiful responsibility that so many of us in this space have of shaping people's windows into the world. And I think in celebration of that, we can also recognize that we need to be taking care of ourselves, because if we are too burnt out to have the bandwidth to be curious, to experiment. I mean, both Stacey and Maxim talked about, media is now measurable. We're looking at this opportunity to be able to track things in new ways. We have to be experimenting. That requires a certain amount of energy and patience for experimentation and failure. So we have to be taking care of ourselves. So what does that look like when the news cycle is 24/7? For me, it looks like a lot of collaboration. If my phone is off and I'm, taking my kids fishing, then somebody else is on responsibility there. It looks like a lot of collaboration. It looks like making sure that me and my team, that we're recharging, that we're taking care of ourselves. I think these are also important topics for World PR Day and things that we need to be encouraging our fellow PR professionals to be thinking about, so that we can continue this great work of putting together these windows into the world.
You know what? Well said. I think someone in the chat has also said, well put, beautifully put. I think this whole point around collaboration is really, really important because burnout is real. And I think the one thing that COVID has left us with is the ability to work all hours because we're now working remotely. And we're all doing all things, in lots of different ways. But from a PR perspective, that requires us to do a lot of planning as well, right? So this is a question I have for Maxim around the concept of planning, because as we all know, the old adage, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So what do we need to do, thinking about measurement, thinking about planning? How and what do you think is the solution to harness the power of planning as it concerns PR?
First of all, I would like to continue what Sarah said, starting from the big changes recently and the total loss of trust. Because every day in my office, and I employ about 50, 60 people, which for my country is quite a big operation. And every day I'm telling them, listen, guys, ladies, mainly ladies, of course, we don't sell service to clients. We don't sell service to the media. We don't advise anybody. We sell trust. That's what we do from early morning until late night. We are selling trust. So from that perspective, my message, my advice is don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. We should work very hard to be very proactive in order to recognize the fake news, in order to recognize who are the artificial trolls who may attack our clients or may attack us. About 120 years ago, when Henry Ford, the famous American industrialist, present his first car to the media and to the audience, which was called gasoline cart at that time. They didn't have the word car. And a lot of people say, there is no way, it cannot exist. Because we should put gasoline inside. We should pump the tires all the time. We must maintain the engine, and it can kill people. No way. We will continue with our horse carts. So horses, carts, and no. Today, go to the United States of America, go to Nigeria, go to Botswana or wherever, and you don't see horse carts. You see cars. Yes, it was dangerous, of course. Yes, there are certain rules, and not very many people keep these rules, or some of them are not obeying the rules or whatever. But on the other hand, it works. So it's the same with social media. It's a new tool. It's a new concept. It changes the world. It's a revolution, but we must keep them very close under our control, under our knowledge, in order to provide a trustful service to our clients. So how to measure? Even don't ask me this question. It's, Deborah, it's the easiest thing in the world now to measure the effect of your social media campaign. Of course, the traditional media, of course, the outdoor advertising, if it comes at all to the public relations business or whatever, it's a different story. But our PR business, first of all, it's a process. Very often we have a client, and the client comes to our office and says, hey, listen, we would like to have effect with social media in 2 months, because my secretary is operating on Facebook and Instagram in a very good manner, and it's for free. So we put something on Instagram and people like it, whatever. But it's not an effect. It's not a PR.
Yeah.
A single posting on Instagram, it's not a PR. So the clients should understand that it's a long process. And also they should understand that the social media are changing. Take AI. We knew about AI since 2 years. And then we knew it's coming since 2 months. But now since 2 weeks, what's happening? How to use AI? What to do with AI? how to, what's true, what's not true. So it's the main idea is that it's a process which we must follow every single day. This is the fastest changing business in the world with the speed of light sometimes. So if we understand this, I think our business will go very smooth. Because back 15 years ago again, it was so easy. The client comes and we write press release. We send the press release to the media and the media is happy and the client is happy. And if they don't publish the press release, client is not happy. And we have our arguments. So that was the whole business. But today it's beautiful because we work 24/7 and we should be engaged. And that's the nature of our business. And that's how the estimation, the evaluation will come, because we will monitor and we are monitoring this all the time.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, especially around the whole social media aspect, the surprise around AI. Ooh, AI, surprise. I think the surprise around AI is that we didn't know what it would be capable of. And even now, ChatGPT is in version 4 within 4 months because it's evolving so rapidly itself. So I think, to cut ourselves a little bit of slack, we don't know what we don't know, especially when it comes to how AI can evolve. And that kind of leads me to the question for Stacey around what does the future look like? What is on the horizon? What will people do if they want to refine the way they're using their channels? Is it going to be in a way that we can't even begin to fathom at this moment?
Well, as I said, everyone should put their seatbelts on. I've definitely seen evolutions and revolutions before, but we will all be okay. We just have to keep breathing. I'm going to talk about a couple of things I see on the horizon, but I want to also just talk about, what still matters. And I think what will never change about public relations before I jump into that. First of all, the most valuable media is the one you can't buy. So I think, I've never been, I would say, the past 10 years, I would say, a fan of just distributing press releases and news releases. And I think, as practitioners, we have to be mindful. Another one of my mantras is to add value, not clutter. It's part of our job is, I think, as practitioners, I always say that we have to always fill 3 buckets. We have to be strategic. So we have to have that 12,000-foot view, but then we have to be creative. That's the second bucket, because our job is how do we make clients stand out from clutter? And there's so much clutter out there. And then the third bucket is precision. We need that precision with implementation. So again, before I go and look at the horizon, what still matters is going to be the message, relevance to the audience. It's got to be strategy-based, creative, and strong execution. And I do believe that the pitch, so to speak, will live on. Whether we develop it ourselves or put it through ChatGPT, the pitch will always be part of what we do. In terms of looking at what is ahead, we know that data and analytics there's an explosion and it's going to continue to explode, but it's a good thing for us because this intelligence is going to inform our decisions, and they're going to allow us to be more strategic than ever. There's also, I really think it's also going to be more important than ever to identify and work with influencers effectively. As we know, there's a lot of speech to text technology, which will have an impact on our work, from anything from press conferences to webinars. Content creation is also another thing that won't change, but it will get more complicated. And then also, again, there's going to be AI. We can use it in a number of ways for contact recommendations, sentiment analysis. And with the sentiment analysis is really important because, it's how are our messages being received? And so we're going to have tools that will allow us to do this. And then just two last things is predictive analytics. Again, I mentioned this before, but we're going to be able to predict the probability that a journalist will or will not cover a story, which will, again, this will be incredible time savings, efficiencies. I also think our clients are going to expect more than ever that PR impacts the bottom line. And so we're going to need an understanding and be able to help the client achieve their business goals and really be good with not just good, we have to be great with metrics, because again, we're going to be able to attribute lead gen and sales to earned media. And I'll end with that, but it's really exciting. It's a little scary and it's a little bit like the wild, wild west, but I think it just offers so many incredible opportunities for our clients and us to grow as professionals.
Well, you know what? I think that is a fantastic note to end on. I can tell you the chat has been on fire with all kinds of comments and input from the keen listeners. So I will just, first of all, thank you all. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Maxim. Thank you, Stacey, for your input, for your contributions, for your thoughts. And I think for me, the kind of overriding themes on this conversation have been that we're in a world where there are 4 billion content creators. Content is king and AI is the queen. And we need to find a way to make the king and queen our servants and not the other way around. And to remain in control of the narrative in a positive way, so that as PR professionals, we're continuing to help build brands, to build our own personal presence, our own brand presence, to use the tools that are available to us, and also to work collaboratively so that we do not burn out. Amen.
I just want to say one word. Sorry. This is the beginning of our conversation. We, all of us, and Stacey and Sarah and me, I'm sure we are very easy to be found on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, or Instagram, on TikTok, or whatever you name it, YouTube or whatever. So any of you guys who would like to continue this conversation, who may have questions or suggestions, let's communicate, let's contact, and let's organize another meeting in the next 3 months, something like early September. We are now a group of people. I'll be very happy to continue this conversation, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you too. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.